everyone, how's it going? So, last episode we finished off with the trainer school, and now we are headed to Howoli City. Not only apparently the biggest city in Alola, but one of the only cities in Alola. There aren't very many of them, so there is a lot to do in the city, but for our purposes, we don't really need to do all that much. You can't really do anything right now in the beachfront area, and as for the Poke Finder, which you get pretty early on, I'm never going to use it in this playthrough, but you get it. You can also change your clothes and your hair, which I actually messed up. One thing I want to criticize is unlike X and Y, where you can customize your character for free, here you kind of have to pay for it. And not just you have to pay for it, it doesn't give you like a preview screen like pretty much every other game with character customization. So you can make sure that what you're saying is what you actually want to look like. So unfortunately, I just don't understand fashion at all, or English apparently. And my character's hair doesn't look anything like what I thought it would, and I didn't feel like paying more money to give it a different hairstyle. It's pretty expensive for early game currency, and I want to conserve my money for Pokeballs because, hey, they're going to be pretty useful, I think. Speaking of Pokeballs, there are some Pokemon to catch in Howoli City. One of them is Furfrou, which I decided to use Pichu for. The reason Pichu is kind of useful to catch Pokemon is that it knows Thunder Shock, plus it has Static. It doesn't always work, but it does give you a pretty high chance of paralyzing Pokemon. And Furfrou is a pretty powerful Pokemon to get early on. Unfortunately, since it doesn't evolve, I don't really use it at all, but maybe I will later. I'm going to probably pick a team to defeat the Elite Four with once I've, caught all the Pokemon I can up to that point. So maybe Furfrou. I'm going to probably have you guys vote on which team I'm going to use. Anyway, Metapod also evolves after I KO a few Wingull. I don't need another Wingull, I already caught one, but we're going to be getting a Butterfree, adding one more to the Pokedex counter, and finishing off that page of the Pokedex pretty early on. That's pretty great. And then I find an Abra. And I didn't put Abra on my... Oh, there it's gone. I didn't put Abra on my top 10 worst Pokemon to catch list. And maybe I should have, because now here is a second Abra, and this time I think I'm going to throw a Great Ball, and yeah, that didn't work. So that's okay. I mean, 40% chance of catching it with a Great Ball. I don't have Spore or Shadow Tag or anything like that, but, I'm sure I'll catch one soon. Oh, here's another Abra. Let's go and throw another Great Ball. Okay, oh, okay, well, that kind of sucks, but, fourth time's a charm, right? Well, before I can encounter another Abra, I find a Mime Jr., and that one doesn't teleport away from me, so that's pretty good. I'm definitely happy about that. And I decided at this point not to try for another Abra, because I know you can also catch one on Route 2, so I move on in the story, and look at that. Here's Team Skull. They speak like, in those 90s commercials when they tried to sound cool? That's what Team Skull talks like. So I kind of found it charming the first time, but now it's just kind of a little annoying. I don't really care, whatever. But they're really, really easy to defeat. You pretty much fight this grunt with the Drowsy a few times. You're going to see him make a few more appearances. Anyway, after you defeat Team Skull, then you then fight Ilima, I don't know. I don't really care how to pronounce his name. I don't even know. I used to think it was like Llama. Like, an I and an L look so similar when they're, capital I, lowercase l. So, I don't know why they chose that name. But whatever. He's a little more difficult than every other trainer. He's kind of like the closest thing we have to an early gym leader. Yungoos, I used Pikipek and Ladybug to finish it off, and it wasn't too bad. But Smeargle actually, I beat it easily because it's a Smeargle, but I was surprised how much damage it did. I guess with Technician plus Stab Tackle or Water Gun, which is super effective against Litten, it was doing a little bit of damage, but Litten at this point is so overleveled, or it gets a little overleveled, but it is absolutely dominant. Nothing really is standing in its way. So after defeating Ilima, I still don't know. Someone tell me how I'm supposed to pronounce that thing in the comments. Not that it matters, I don't think you really see him again. But anyway, we're going to Route 2 right now, and there's a few Pokemon we can catch that we need to. One of them being Ekans, another new Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Pokemon, so that's pretty great. And look at that, it doesn't teleport away from me. Unlike Abra number 4, which Yay! Now I'm actually starting to get really angry. It's like, okay, enough's enough. Like, I don't remember having this much trouble, even in red and blue, catching this thing. Like, oh my goodness, Abra is really giving me trouble. And look at that! Abra number 5 also teleports away. What's going on? Alright, okay, is this a joke? Like, what's going on? What is the statistical probability of this? It's not very high. 40% chance per? I mean, come on. Like, you'd think one of these would have just stayed in the ball. Alright, well, Makihita, of course, very easy Pokemon to catch. It's not going to break out of the... Well, at least this one can't teleport away, but still, I am just not having some good luck. Anyway, on that note, I made a really dumb decision when I encountered a Smeargle. So what was my brilliant decision? Well, I'll just throw a Pokeball the first turn and let it do a little bit of struggle damage, and then I'll catch it. It's not like Smeargle has a much lower catch rate than everything else in the early game, because that is completely what the case is. And oh, of course, the predictable happened and it fainted itself. I'm brilliant. I'm truly a brilliant individual. Anyway, I do catch a Drowsy and then decided, okay, that's enough. Let's take a break. So the next day rolls around and I am ready to catch that Abra. I'm ready. I hate you, Abra. I hate you, Abra. Please just stay in the friggin' Pokeball. Please? Please? Yay! Oh my god. 7 Abra. Oh my god. So, after 7 Abra, I then fight a trainer and my Litten gets Fire Fang. Now, Litten's attack and special attack, at least mine, are about even, but Fire Fang does quite a bit more damage. So, remember how powerful I said Litten was already? Well, now it's even more powerful. And if things weren't going well enough, I actually encounter another Smeargle, and this time use Growl, because it won't use Struggle now, because it can sketch Growl, and that does suck, but I probably won't use Smeargle anyway. And, it also will lower my attack, so I can kind of make sure it has the perfect amount of health to catch, so it worked out pretty well. Okay, so after catching Smeargle, I go into the Howoli Cemetery, and, the cemetery has some trainers, which are pretty easy, but also has some Pokemon, which I'm going to catch. And I decided to go with Pichu Strats for the cemetery, simply because Lick will pretty much faint any of these Pokemon in one hit with Litten. So, we have Ghastly. And Pichu, basically, with the Static plus Thundershock, it does get the Paralysis, and it works to perfection. And it also works very well on the Zubat I encounter not too much later. And you can see now I actually have a counter. People asked for this. So I had to wait to put the counter in because I do it as I'm recording, which honestly is way easier than doing it in post-production because I'm not very good at editing. And speaking of the counter, it's about to go up by 1 again because although the Pichu strategies don't work to perfection this time, I'm still able to catch a Drifloon without too much trouble. And that's going to bring the counter up to what now? I don't have it in front of me, but it's already past 30 for sure. So that's pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Anyway, we actually get to go to a new area in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's pretty much opposite of the Howoli Cemetery, so it's all the way to the west. I mean, first we have to beat this Delibird guy, who isn't too much trouble. And then you get to see Mantine Surf. We don't actually get to use it because, of course, it's only available later in the game. But we do get a rematch with Team Skull! Hooray! I missed them. I just saw them like 10 seconds ago, but boy did I want to see them again. Okay, so yeah, after you fight Team Skull again, the same grunt it seems like, you then can proceed onto the northern patches of grass, and like in Sun and Moon and other Pokemon games, at least recent ones, different patches of grasses have different encounters. So we're going to encounter a Growlithe and catch a Growlithe, meaning when we get the Firestone, we'll have another Pokemon. Also, I was really lucky to get a Dunsparce very early on. So why am I lucky to get a Dunsparce? So notice that Dunsparce, the encounter started with a rustling grass that approached me. Now, the Pokemon you encounter through rustling grass is slightly different than the Pokemon that appear in the grass regularly. And it just so happens Dunsparce only appears through the rustling grass and only appears 15% of the time. And the rustling grass, I don't think respawns until you leave the route or at least go off screen. I'm not actually sure. So basically, I was lucky I didn't have to keep going into the Pokemon Center and coming back out to try and get the Dunsparce. It was on my second encounter, but I can imagine that being a little annoying for someone. But I'm sure I'll get trolled elsewhere. Now, after I catch the Dunsparce, I actually gain enough experience points for my Litten to finally evolve into a Torracat. Took it to level 17, but yeah, Torracat, if you thought Litten was OP, Torracat is even more OP, especially with Double Kick, which is absolutely going to help us in the first trial. I still have a few more Pokemon to catch, including Cutiefly, say that 10 times fast. I actually messed up like 10 takes saying that. But anyway, I do catch the Cutiefly, but I do have to use a bit of a different strategy because Lick is doing so much damage that I actually have to throw a ball and then wait for a couple absorbs for it to get a little health back so I wouldn't KO it, because it was within range to KO with Lick. And yeah, that's how powerful Torracat is right now. I also learned about the Roto Lotto or Roto Lotto, or I don't know. It's probably the Roto Lotto. I don't care. It sucks. It's like bad O-Powers. Imagine if O-Powers were random. Thanks, Game Freak. I actually was excited for this thing until I found out that it was actually a lottery and it's completely random. I mean, maybe it happens enough that I won't care, but O-Powers are such a convenient way to hatch eggs really quick and to get friendship evolutions to happen really quickly, so I am not a fan if this takes longer than O-Powers. If it's shorter than O-Powers, then yeah. Anytime they make tedious things easier, I am a fan. But back to our Catch 'em All quest. I caught a Spearow on Route 2, the last Pokemon I needed to catch actually, and I traded it to the girl in the Pokemon Center who wants a Spearow for a Hawlucha, and that's going to bring our total, I believe, up to 34. Yes, I think that's right, if my math is correct. So, now that I have 34 Pokemon, I can challenge the first trial. That's not true. I can just do that anyway. I just chose to right now. And the first trial is actually pretty easy and a little annoying. It's not as fun as a gym, really, because basically all you do is you encounter these 3 Rattata, or actually 2 Rattata and Eradicate, I should say. I think it's a Yungoos and Sun, so this is because I'm playing Ultra Moon. But basically, you defeat these guys, and then the third Raticate, or what I thought was a Rattata, it doesn't spawn right away in one of these caves. You have to chase it around in a predetermined pattern. And then Team Skull appeared, and oh my god, Team Skull again. I haven't seen you guys in so long. Like, oh my goodness, 3 Team Skull appearances in one episode. Considering the episode is not even like 15 minutes, that's a lot, guys. Maybe we could space out these encounters a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, whatever. I beat Team Skull, and there's also Brick Break, by the way, that you can get, which makes this section in Ultra Moon really easy, because Rattata and Raticate, at least the Alolan versions, have a 4 times weakness to fighting, so you're going to see how that looks in just a second, because we're about to fight the Totem Pokemon. Now, instead of gym leaders, to get a well, a lot of times to get a Z Crystal, which is basically like a gym badge, except it actually does something, so it's kind of better than a gym badge in a way. But anyway, to get the Z Crystal, you have to fight a Totem Pokemon. Now, don't close your eyes because you're going to miss it. Well, that was a tough battle. So you didn't even get to see what these Totem Pokemon are really like. I mean, the first time Pokemon call for allies is this Totem encounter. And my first time, it actually was a pretty cool encounter because it has higher defense and it can be pretty difficult to KO this giant Raticate slash Yungoos. But because it is quadruple weak to fighting and my Torracat is so powerful, it, you know, just didn't even stand a chance. So, now that I have completed the first trial and gotten the Normalium Z and 10 Great Balls, which are pretty useful for me, I'm able to catch a few Pokemon in the trial site, which you actually can't do until you finish the trial. Before that, there's another cutscene with the Ultra Recon Squad. I don't know if they're evil, I'm just saying they are, and they're really silly. But maybe I'll enjoy them. So far, their dialogue is charming because if nothing else, it's different. By the way, I know you guys are already laughing at the fact I have 35 Pokemon. So yeah, the 2 Pokemon I need to catch, I forgot I only caught 2 in the trial site. And the first was Noibat, which is new to Ultra Sun and Moon. Fairly easy to catch. I did make a bit of a mistake with Alolan Diglett. I used a Lick because I have been playing so much Gen 4 recently, I forgot that Steel no longer resists Ghost, and it fainted. But for whatever reason, I decided to try it again, and that time it worked to perfection. So sometimes doing the exact same dumb strategy twice does work. I'm shocked I did that. I actually looked at the footage again. I'm like, why did I use Lick again? That didn't work the first time. But that's going to bring this episode to a close. I do want to quickly apologize for releasing the episode a little later than I initially promised. The real mistake, honestly, was promising when I'd release the episode, because when stuff comes up outside of YouTube, because I am a one-man production crew, it really delays these episodes by quite a bit. But I'm going to aim for Tuesday or Wednesday. That seems to make the most sense, so we'll try and do 3 videos a week, plus I'll have enough time then to edit the Catch 'em All Gen 4 video, which a lot of you seem to think I was giving up on, but that would really be a shame, because I've spent over maybe 50 or so hours making that video, so yeah, it's coming out soon. Well, soonish. I'll keep you posted. Anyway, guys, thanks for the support. If you're new to the channel, leave a like, subscribe, it helps out a great deal. We're almost at 25K, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, have a good one. Take care.